Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, PricewaterhouseCoopers Luxembourg, a subsidiary of the world's second largest professional services firm, will start accepting Bitcoin payments from the 1st of October. The Luxembourg branch of the Big Four auditing firm announced the initiative in a news release on the 2nd of October, claiming the move shows its commitment to complying with the needs of clients as well as supporting the growing national crypto ecosystem. In the announcement, PricewaterhouseCoopers Luxembourg expressed confidence in Bitcoin, calling it the first peer-to-peer payment mechanism that cannot be compromised and is based on a decentralized trust model, end quote. The company says it is aware of the existing shortcomings of cryptocurrencies and the challenges associated with its adoption. PricewaterhouseCoopers Luxembourg added that it has partnered with an unnamed regulated local exchange in order to provide the best experience. It wrote, and I do quote, "The firm acknowledges the challenges of this move and how carefully reviewed its internal policies and procedures to meet the standards required by the crypto industry and closely collaborated with the local regulated exchange to provide the best payment experience," end quote. PricewaterhouseCoopers Luxembourg move to accept crypto payments stems from the positive stance to the industry by its parent company, PricewaterhouseCoopers. In June, PricewaterhouseCoopers announced the release of Halo, a crypto auditing software solution enabling the firm to provide independent evidence of private-public key pairing and collect data from transactions and balances from blockchains. Couple of things. This is another major institution who's now decided to publicly announce their foray into the cryptocurrency space. We've seen this many other times before, or rather, if you have been here before, you have heard me talk about this before. For some reason, or rather, I mean, their businesses, so obviously they're going to do it, this certain way. They look into cryptocurrencies years ago. They decide to finally get into it. They get into it, and then they announce about 2 years later that they're finally deciding to accept it, to start using it, to trade it, to custody it. What PricewaterhouseCoopers is doing, which is kind of an odd move, is that they've decided to start accepting it for payments. Here's the actual website right here. Even the wording of it lets me think that they're not confident enough, or rather they're trying to make sure that they don't get burned by launching another cryptocurrency exchange. There are many cryptocurrency exchanges. I was listening to a podcast with Chang Peng Tao a couple days ago, and he was, I forgot the words of advice he was giving people trying to get into the cryptocurrency space. I think it was like, learn how to become a coder, learn how to code on top of this, and therefore be able to make apps on top of this. So when this does, his words, become popular, you'll be able to make games at the drop of a dime, and you'll be able to make money this way from it. He said, don't open up a new cryptocurrency exchange. He said, but there are far too many of them. And he said there are a lot of major ones, and I assume he meant the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and et cetera, are going to be coming out soon. So PricewaterhouseCoopers, what it appears that they're doing is that they're accepting cryptocurrencies as a payment method for their services, which I said, once again, is kind of weird. But this goes back to what I was saying before. I think that companies like this have either waited too long to get into the cryptocurrency space. I assume that they're buying. One would assume one does not get into the cryptocurrency space, especially if you are as large as PwC, without having bought Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies yourself. But I think this is also another way for them to try and accumulate more cryptocurrencies without actually having to buy it themselves. If they have customers or have people around the world who have been contacting them, as we've seen with many other firms who have said, hey, we have Bitcoin, we have cryptocurrencies, do you accept this because we want to buy some of your products, we want to invest in this, we want to invest in, put our money into so and so and so. And they go, no, sorry, keep your money, we don't want it. I'm pretty sure at some point somebody in the office was like, we do want their money, and we have to figure out a way to start accepting it. So this is what I think they're trying to do, because as of now, they have not announced. There we go. They have not announced actually using it as a trading service, custodying it, or whatever the actual case might be. But the fact that a company as large as PricewaterhouseCoopers is getting into the cryptocurrency space is, at least to me, a very clear symbol of where the cryptocurrency space is going. It's just far too obvious at this point, especially with all the analysts. I try to stay away from some of them, but I do read a lot of what they say as far as like they usually what's even more interesting is that when people talk about the actual future of cryptocurrencies and the future of Bitcoin, it tends to rely solely, thank goodness, on the actual normal everyday adoption of people. How strong the network is getting, how many miners are on the network, and how many people around the world are actually using it, and how much value is actually being transacted through the Bitcoin blockchain on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. They never seem to take into account, and like I said, I'm glad that they don't do this. They don't usually take into account big names or big firms who are actually getting into the space, because it's one thing to have predictions or analyses that show Bitcoin's price will eventually hit 50,000, 100,000, 300,000. And then you have to take into account as well, there's also billions, potentially trillions of dollars also waiting to get into the market within the next couple of years. That'll also help to further increase the price of the cryptocurrency market. Anyway, yeah, that's the PricewaterhouseCoopers news, and let us move on. I'm not even getting a cold. It's so annoying. I should have had tea before this. Anyway, the German arm of global fast food chain known as Burger King now accepts Bitcoin payments on its delivery website and mobile application. There's a little picture right there, and with a little B on it as well. Despite Bitcoin's sudden appearance on its official website, it is unclear whether Bitcoin is also accepted in the 600 physical Burger King restaurants across Germany. In summer 2017, Burger King Russia announced they will start accepting Bitcoin payments and then introduce their own virtual currency called the Whopper coin. I'm pretty sure a lot of you remember this. Also in 2017, Bitcoin started to be accepted by a restaurant in Arnhem, a city in the Netherlands. If you're in Germany, you walk by a Burger King, don't harass them. Just ask them nicely. They're accepting Bitcoin. It's kind of weird. It's also kind of weird that we haven't heard from McDonald's or any other fast food place. I mean, listen, if you are smart enough to be, ahead of the curve and start adopting it and, accumulating it like PricewaterhouseCoopers before anybody else, then kudos to you. I myself don't eat at Burger King, but I do find it quite fascinating that they're constantly at the, not the front, maybe in like fourth place when it comes to like cryptocurrency adoption. I mean, it's better than nothing. They didn't even need Spedin or Flexa or anything else like that to kind of accept it. It's also kind of interesting. I would assume, or rather, if you're also in the States, can you tell me if Burger King in America accepts cryptocurrencies? It's kind of interesting. I won't use the word weird. It's kind of interesting that Russia and Germany were the first places on this planet for Burger King to start accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, let's move on. Next up, Tron is in the news. Tron will be offered as a base pair currency to create new markets for two of the most prominent tokens, BitTorrent and Wink. That's a lie. Neither one of these are prominent tokens. On Binance, the TRX asset will be used to generate liquidity for its tokens, expanding their previous pairings. Win and BitTorrent token were offered in high-profile IEO's initial exchange offerings on Binance's launchpad. The assets were rather volatile, and in the case of Wink, or Win, skeptics prevailed. Still, the Tron project is dedicated to propping up these two tokens. Sure. The point is, one, this is the only website where I found this information. I Googled around for a while, could not find anything else except for this bit of news right here. It is significant in its own way when a cryptocurrency is listed as a base pair on any website. We've heard before, or rather I've heard from, I don't want to use the word skeptics, but people out there who don't like either Binance or don't like Tron. There's a healthy portion of both, that apparently Binance works with Tron, and this is why they're trying to, I think, push Tron to get more airtime for people to kind of know it more. I was reading an article yesterday, and they were discussing, once again, this is not my opinion, this is simply something that I read, and they were discussing the amount of altcoins that were once very hyped and have all but almost, I won't use the word dead. They're simply not as fascinating or talked about as much anymore. And I think Tron was one of the ones that they listed. I think they said that, what's this guy's name? Justin Sun has not backed away, but he hasn't been as hypey as he previously was on Twitter. And as a result, the price of Tron and the placement of Tron has therefore suffered. And they assume if there isn't more hype that's going to come from him, Therefore, the token will continue to slip. But it's also fascinating at the same exact time, once again, that despite the slip and despite I don't think it's being used less. I think it's just kind of not as there as it once was before. Is now being offered as a base pair on Binance. I mean, it's also offered as a base pair against BitTorrent token and Wink, and not against like Tron, Bitcoin, XRP, or Ether. So, yeah, still interesting. And the next story ties directly into Binance once again. Here we go. New York regulators have approved the launch of a new cryptocurrency developed by global exchange known as Binance, a collaborative effort between Binance and digital asset infrastructure developer Paxos. The stablecoin, known as Binance USD or BUST, terrible name, will be pegged to the US dollar. According to today's announcement, consumers will be able to buy BUST and redeem the stablecoin 1-for-1 for the US dollar on the Paxos platform. Users will be able to buy BUST on Binance.com for trading pairs against Bitcoin, Binance Coin, and XRP. That's kind of surprising. It's usually Ether. I was expecting Ether or Litecoin. That's actually quite surprising. Paxos, which became the first approved and regulated company to offer crypto products and services when the New York Department State Financial Services, something like that, granted it a limited purpose trust chart in 2015, will serve as the USD custodian and issuer of BUST. One, I still think that regardless of the support and the liquidity that Tether might have, there are clearly other people and institutions who are trying to make themselves also known. We were talking about this in 2018 as well. I think when Paxos came out and Gust came out, the Gemini US dollar, every single article that came out for about a good month and a half after Paxos coin came out and Gust came out were talking about how great they were, how cool they were, and they made sure to throw dirt on Tether endlessly. So I assume behind the scenes this is still going on, especially because, if you want my opinion, I think that regulators around the world have realized I think that they think that they have to get control of as much things as they possibly can in order to be able to feel comfortable in the cryptocurrency space. I think there's a reason why we haven't seen the New York Department of Financial Services come forward explicitly saying, yeah, we like Tether, we like so and so and so. And this is why I think there's also still a mad rush to be able to create an enormous amount of stablecoins. I still firmly believe that in the future, stablecoins are going to be like we saw about a week ago in the news. Stablecoins, I think, are going to be widely adopted by banks. I think a lot of banks around the world are not in the mood to have to create their own systems. So they're probably testing out other systems that already exist, that have already been made, and therefore are going to integrate them in some sort of way that I haven't really been able to figure it out. The other part is that Binance is constantly expanding. No matter when we hear about Binance, it's always in a massive direction. It normally takes a very long time for anyone to get any type of approval from New York regulators to do anything. We still have people who have applied for the BIT license since, 2015, 2014? And they still don't have their license, but Binance applies for something. One can only assume they had to apply for this, as they went through the New York regulators, and then they were approved. And I assume they didn't put in the paperwork at the beginning of 2018. I can only assume it was either the beginning of this year or at the very end of last year. Also interesting is that Binance keeps creating new currencies, which I also think is very fascinating as well. I don't think they're ever going to be who knows? I was going to say they won't be as big as Facebook, but I think their influence is going to stretch very far. And I can also assume, just thinking about this right now, as Binance US is supposed to be opening relatively soon as well, this is probably why they got approval from New York regulators to be able to actually create or issue this coin. This is probably going to be the dollar-pegged stablecoin that's going to be on the Binance US platform. Just brought it all together. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, very fascinating. It would be very weird. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't know. It would be kind of weird if banks eventually started using Binance's coins. Ooh, speculation. But I think something like that will eventually take place. And here's the actual article right here. It says Binance partners with Paxos to launch USD-backed stablecoin known as BUST. Once again, a terrible name, but what can you do? Next up, Facebook's WhatsApp is looking to hire a blockchain regulation expert in Sub-Saharan Africa. The messaging app provider recently posted a job opening for a public policy manager who would work closely with Facebook's Africa public policy team to ensure blockchain technologies and digital payments can play their part in improving Africa's socio-economic development. Job listing does not mention Libra, Facebook's controversial cryptocurrency project, and it's not clear how involved the hire would be in that initiative, nor does it mention Calibra, the Facebook subsidiary developing a wallet for the currency. However, Libra's stated goals include bringing financial services to underserved people in the developing world, and more specifically, enabling money transfers over WhatsApp. WhatsApp, of course, declined to comment. As with anybody, the position would be in London or Johannesburg with significant travel time and calls for someone with expertise in blockchain, digital identity, and cryptocurrency. One can only assume, or rather, Facebook's been, don't want to use the word smart. They've been, whatever. What they've been doing has been very fascinating over the last couple of weeks, as they have gotten a lot of negative attention from Europe, North America, parts of Asia, Australia. They're trying, or rather, it seems like they're trying to make sure that they can still expand in other ways across the rest of the world. One of the really interesting parts was, and we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, this is actually a conversation that has come up multiple times, and it comes from the idea from Andreas Antonopoulos, and it comes down to the fact that if you are a country, let's say there are two countries, and one country is doing better than the other one, explicitly better than the other one, and the second country who's not doing too well, they eventually come to the first country and they go, we're not doing too well. Can we use your US dollar? Can we use your this? Can we issue bonds against this? And can we actually use this as legal tender? Or can we, have a safeguard against our inflationary currency? And the country goes, yeah, sure. You're only helping us out, but sure, that's great. A lot of countries in South America and in Africa aren't doing well economically. And the idea from Andreas Antonopoulos was that eventually what would end up happening was, if Facebook does end up launching Libra, which is looking like they're going to still be able to do, at a certain point, if they onboard across all of their platforms 2.4 billion people, let's even say 1 billion people on this planet onto the platform, and if the Libra token is already a threat to the US dollar, as we've seen before, it is therefore going to be a threat to many other fiat currencies around the world as well. So them already trying to push further into Africa leads me to believe, myself, this is what I think, that they're probably already in discussions, which is kind of scary. They're probably in discussions with a lot of other countries around the world to actually make sure that they have, I guess, the required paperwork, or to make sure that the governments in these countries have some sort of control over a node or information, or all information that passes through these systems or through Libra or through WhatsApp as people are making payments, purchases, so on, etc., so on and so forth, goes through the government as well. Why is this significant? Because the government is kind of a, quid pro quo, I think that's it, where you get something, I get something. You as a government are able to see all the payments, all the transactions, everything that's going through. We get to issue this currency inside of your country where it has a fiat currency that's already not doing that well, and therefore people in the country will use us. You can fall back on us as well. And therefore, it's a win-win for everyone. They get the information, and Facebook gets the control. What's going to end up happening is, and this is already, if you look at how debt works, and how governments work, and how banks work, and how everyone is just simply in debt because everyone's constantly asking someone else for money, Facebook is going to be large enough as the world's largest bank potentially next year. Governments will start to come to Facebook asking them for loans, saying, hey, we're not doing too well. We need some. Realistically, there's no bank on this planet that has 1 billion customers, nonetheless has access to 2.4 billion. How many friends and people do you know who use WhatsApp? It's very, very fascinating. Anyway, without spending too much time on this, I'm going to assume that over the next couple of weeks, we're going to either hear more news about an expansion within Africa, or them trying to get somewhere into the Southeast Asian region and or South America. They're definitely going to launch within Europe and within the North American space, and maybe a soft launch. But I think if they are not wicked, if they are, I'm trying. I keep trying to look for like a nice word to use to like explain what they're doing, but like only the words like wicked and vile and like malicious end up coming up. Whatever they're planning on doing, they're making sure that they're constantly in control. Every time that I listen to something, Wall Street Journal, a podcast, it doesn't really matter, and they talk about the actual expansion plans for Facebook, they know what they're doing. They may be clumsy while doing it, but the end goal is to make sure that they have more control. We have never been in a situation on this planet where there's been a company who's been able to have you post photos of your cats, a couple years later take all of your information and sell it, make billions of dollars, and then become the world's largest bank. It's completely unheard of. We've never experienced anything like this. Probably never will again after Facebook does this, because I'm sure the regulations are going to be intense after this, but it's going to be interesting. I'm terrified of a world where the first experience that people have with cryptocurrencies or digital payments within other countries is through Facebook and not through Bitcoin, not through Litecoin, not even through Tron. It's a controlled system where everything they do is then sent back to their government or to local financial authorities or whatever. And this is kind of what the mindset becomes. Okay, well, it's fine. I've been using this for years. I'm not doing anything wrong, so what's the problem? Very, very scary. Let's move on. To kind of finish things off, I don't think we spoke about this. I think there was the HTC phone and the Pundi X phone. So this one says, a special edition of the new Galaxy Note 10 for the South Korean market will reward users with free Clay tokens. That is KLAY. South Korean tech giant Kakao Corp will issue its affiliate cryptocurrency Clay direct to Samsung smartphone users, according to the Wall Street Journal. Citing people familiar with the plans on the 5th of September yesterday, the latest edition of Samsung's new Galaxy Note 10 will feature a cryptocurrency wallet and free coins. Clay is the in-house token of Clayth, the blockchain network Kakao recently revealed in conjunction with its dedicated spin-off Ground X in October of last year. Speaking to the Wall Street Journal, the sources said each edition of Samsung's Clayth edition of the Galaxy 10 will ship with an unknown amount of clay. It's probably it's going to be like 1.4 or something. The phone will also include Clayton's various features, which its creators say all aim to reduce the confusing surrounding, that's a confusing sentence. The confusion surrounding blockchain technology. The new product, however, will only be for sale on Samsung's native South Korean market. Cool. We spoke before about how South Korea and Japan were running the crypto world before, so this is why I assume that they're just focusing on these countries, cities, states, places at the moment. Interesting. We have yet thus far, to my knowledge, I mean, I'm also not like a huge phone buff, but I don't remember hearing of many different phone companies in other parts of the world issuing phones and stuff like this. I guess maybe they're kind of testing it out. I hope this phone is not expensive, because it's probably, logically, not going to be worth the... This is just how I feel. The money for the clay that's going to be on it, especially with an unspecified amount. Yeah, you pretty much have to say. And especially what I've seen before, I don't know if you've noticed it, a lot of the other cryptocurrencies or the coins or the crypto items that are coming out from other institutions who are also launching these things, when they make their coins, they sometimes have like 8 trillion coins. Not a fake trillion. That's not me throwing out a random number. Like an actual trillion coins. So unless every phone has about 100 million of them on them, one would assume may not be worth it. Here's the actual article right here. And yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Yes to crypto. Miller hits chest every day, and Kyle skips leg day minting coins. Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Set Suna, Damien, Nicholas, One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Cryptopolis, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Strange Radio Central, Mechanic, JR, Milweezy, Adobo, Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Triple M and J, Woody and Daisy, Brady Niels, Master Ventures in Thailand, Mohair Maroney, Adam Graysick, and Professor Wally from Gunbot. University. Thank you all an insurmountable amount for your support. At the moment, the cryptocurrency market is acting quite interestingly. Why do I say that? I was reading an article and they were talking about that it seems that based on charts, and this is not just one analyst who I was reading from, they say, and I'm not going to, it's difficult because I don't want to say that the price is going to go up and then the price goes down. And I don't want to say that the price is going to go down because then the price goes up. People are saying that Bitcoin's going to move. All right, everyone, hope you have a good day. No, I'm totally joking. The point is, people noted or said it appears that Bitcoin might be looking like it's trying to initiate a run up to 11,000. This is once again following the news of Bitcoin's dominance rising and this happening so and so and so. A lot. It's very difficult because it still seems like we're in this trading range that won't end until sometime near the end of this month. So, not to get anyone's hopes up, I would say keep in mind that we may be in the market for another drop. I actually wouldn't mind it at this point. Not that I'm greedy. I want to accumulate more at a lower price. But if we're going up, unless we like really smash through 11,000, I'm going to say I would assume a fallback to 10,200, if not 9,800 is probably going to happen relatively soon. Binance is also up, obviously, because of all the Binance news. Every single time that we get Binance news, the Binance coin goes up. Nothing else really significant. There was one other coin. This is what I meant by the whole Tron thing. Tron continuously, I think Tron was number 8 or something like that at one point, and now it's number 14. It's probably going to continue falling. Its daily volume has also fallen as well. It's very weird to think that it's obvious that there's a direct correlation between like hyped up tweets and the actual price of something. There was another coin that was kind of going completely insane. Where was it? Oh, I guess it's maybe slammed down as I was making the video. Oh yeah, hit Algor. For some reason it's up by 20%. There's no Algor news that I could find anywhere unless something was released. Unless something has happened internally that we're going to get news about later on today. I looked around. There's no Algor news. Algor is almost never in the news. So it's kind of fascinating that the price is going up. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, we hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.